feeling drained, exhausted, or burnout, perhaps that's not you physically getting tired. Perhaps that's the entitlement of other people sucking the energy out of you. That's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Let's begin.
Are you ready to shine? Come on, it's the shiny one.
You got this. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Shiny Minds Show with Dr. Shiny. I am Dr. Shiny Burju Install, the founder of the Academy of Neuroshine Technology, ICF Master Certified Coach, Distinguished Coach Educator, Licensed NLP Trainer, Leadership Professor at UCLA, producer of this show, and a woman who is on a mission to empower you to combine the power of your mind with the wisdom of your heart so that you can maximize your true potential and align with your truth. That was one of the longest introductions that I've ever made in my episodes. So today, because we are only days away from completing 2025 with a ribbon on top and welcoming a new chapter, a delicious new year, I want to talk about your energy. We're going to do an audit on your energy, not only physically, but also mentally and emotionally, especially the part that is about emotions. We're going to go a little bit in detail so that you pay attention to who is sucking the energy out of you, who is draining you, just like a raisin who used to be a healthy, delicious grape in its youth. And we're going to look at what makes your heart sing. And that way, you remain in charge of your sovereign energy and you shape your 2026 and beyond as your destiny. If you are ready, buckle up. We're going to start talking about some emotions that might be draining you right now, that might be creating the exhaustion and burnout, and you might be lost or confused and uncertain about the reasons why. I'm going to talk about 3 low frequency emotions that are low density that might be causing the way that you feel right now. Perhaps you feel drained, exhausted, or burnt out. And I'm going to also talk about how you can reverse engineer these emotions and find the root cause of them and literally rewire your brain with the opposite high frequency emotions before we enter into the new year so that you feel like you are going through an emotional detox and you take care of your body, your energy, and you are ready to live an amazing life in 2026. The first low density emotion that we're going to talk about is entitlement. We're going to talk about it within the context of some other people who are showing up in your life as entitled. Not you demonstrating entitlement. I hope not. And if you are, please pay attention. It's never too late to realize something that you can do better in your life. Okay. So let's talk about entitlement because I believe you might have some of these people with entitlement that might be causing you feel like drained, exhausted, and burnt out. What does entitlement look like? That's an energy vampire to begin with. Entitlement, by its own definition, is feeling like life owes you, people owe you, and you are just entitled. You have the right to demand without putting in any effort, without deserving and earning it. Are you familiar with that terminology? And are you familiar with that kind of entitled people? So in that case, let's look at it with magnified lenses, right? If you have a person in your life that demonstrates entitlement, here's what you are doing. You are saying yes to their entitlement and their lack of commitment and their lack of respect, their lack of gratitude, and you're enabling this low frequency attitude. If you have anybody in your life that is draining your energy because they demand everything from you, they don't really know how to say thank you, they don't really know how to reciprocate the kindness that you always bring because that's who you are. You always care for them. You are deeply concerned and compassionate about them. And because that's who you are, hashtag you can't help it, right? But unfortunately, an entitled human being is not going to care about who you are. An entitled person is not going to become aware of how you are going above and beyond to create this connection with them. And I'll tell you what, it's also not something that they do intentionally. And the entitled person, they are showing up entitled because they don't know. Nobody tells them that. And that's exactly why it becomes your responsibility not to enable them. Perhaps you can even call it out. You can simply say, you know what? I have been doing everything to keep our connection, to keep our relationship, to keep our friendship because I care. I deeply care. And at the same time, I've been realizing whenever I needed something in return, you just bailed out. You just walked away. You didn't care. You didn't respond. And that is not okay. That's not gracious. And that's not respecting me. And I am not going to betray myself. Say that. And you might even say, hey, do you realize that this is actually a sense of entitlement? Do you realize that it is damaging our relationship? So the difference here is the important part is that you don't really talk about you, not to make it personalized, which you can because you're a human being and then you have the right to do so. What works in relationships with high emotional intelligence is when you separate you as a human and them as a human and talk about the relationship as a third entity being affected by this behavior. If you say, when you show up with entitlement, when you don't care about me, then it damages our relationship. So that's why when you talk about your third entity, which I talk a lot about in my coaching education programs, because a coaching relationship is nothing but a third entity that was co-created by the coach and the client. In your situation, it could be you and a client. It could be you and a friend. It could be you and a colleague. It could be any relationship. The important thing is you are not important than the other person, and they are not more important than you. What is more important than both parties is the relationship. If everybody really pays attention and cares about the relationship, the third entity, then it's just going to be so delicious that there won't be any room for entitlement. And of course, it requires self-awareness, self-regulation, a lot of self-management, and all the skills that we teach in my academy. And at least if you are aware, now we can apply my formula for change, which is change equals awareness multiplied by willingness. If you are aware that, okay, is there entitlement here? What is really going on here? Is this person reciprocating my kindness, or are they always taking? Are they trying to exploit and never give back? That's a very important awareness to have. If not, you're going to understand why you feel drained and exhausted, especially having interacted and having spent some time with some certain people. So takeaway action step 1, please become aware of who you are spending time with. 2, become aware and pay attention to how certain people make you feel a certain way after having interacted with them. Number 3, become willing to turn it around and stop enabling people and stop betraying yourself and start choosing yourself. That way, you will be looking for solutions. You will be inviting yourself to become a better self-leader, a better human, and you are going to demand perhaps a heart-to-heart conversation with that person and call them out. Say, listen, I know you're better than that. Your behaviors lately have been making our relationship a little bit more difficult because it feels like there is a lack of reciprocation. And then I would love us to work on it. Just open invitation, just like that. Because at the core of people with entitlement, they are draining you. They are making you exhausted and burnt out. Why? The core, the source information is disempowerment. They are sucking the life out of you and they are making you feel disempowered. And again, I want to look at it from the other perspective and I want to see if you feel like you have been acting entitled, that's okay. Because the moment you realize you're aware, you can snap out of it and then you can transform it. Okay. Perhaps you have been innocently asking people for help, but never responding, never reciprocating. If that is you, please become aware. There is always a chance to reframe it because there are tools that will only show up and make your life easier once you become aware. So the second emotion that sucks the life out of you and then make you feel drained, exhausted, and burnt out is the emotion of doubt, self-doubt caused by people who are passive aggressive. They may not be aware. Again, like I also see the other party because I have compassion. And I also see the other person who is being passive aggressive because they are not aware. Nobody told them what they're doing, what they're not doing. They live in their head. Majority of human beings, they live in their head, but never questioning what's happening in their head. So it's just autopilot. And that autopilot might be super damaging, not only to you, but to themselves as well, but they're never aware. If you are realizing that you might have some passive aggressive behaviors towards other people, here's how you can become aware of it. Are you able to stand strong on your food when things go wrong? Are you able to say, this is my truth and I am going to honor it and I am going to fight for it and I am going to stand behind it? No matter what happens, no matter what other people say or think or tell you otherwise, are you able to speak in that moment, not later on? That's the very important part. If you are able to do it in the moment, if you're able to say, this is my truth, this is what I am going to protect, and this is what I am going to honor and live by. I understand that you might have different ideas and different opinions. I respect that. Please go ahead and experience your own life, your own choices. Here is what I am going to do. If you're able to say that, then you don't have to worry about being passive aggressive because you're honoring your truth in the moment. On the other side, however, if you're unable to speak your truth, if you are rather quiet, if you are unable to find the right words, almost it feels like your throat chakra, your voice is hidden. Your voice is buried under some heavy emotions, some curtains that is just not easy for you to just speak up. It might be a sign that you might be passive in that moment. Okay. So that's just the passive side. And if this passive side also gets together and combines with an aggressive part of you that comes off when you are angry, for example, you're yelling at people, you're shouting at people, or you are becoming too intense when emotions hit you, you do not have self-regulation to manage your super high and super low emotions when you just like project it onto others in an aggressive way, coupled with the passivity in the moment. That's what we're talking about. And that's being passive aggressive. And that is, again, damaging the relationship. The relationship is your biggest asset. You want to respect your relationship. You want to really see and feel and honor the context of the relationship and what it does to you, because you experience the magic of life through relationships. And if you do not even know how to honor that, you're going to have a very hard time succeeding in this game of life. So that's why let's start with your own relationship with yourself. And let's just make you not passive aggressive when it comes to owning your truth and speaking your truth. Just say it in the moment. say, you know what? It kind of felt edgy or itchy. I know you didn't mean to. It felt a little bit crossing the line. I know it was not your intention. That it just seemed like that. Say it in the moment. The more you say it, the more you're going to overcome this heavy emotion of passive aggressiveness, not only coming from the outside, but more importantly, coming from your inside. So it's so important that you embody your own truth, and that truth becomes like a filter, like, hey, visa application granted for other people. If you are being passive aggressive about your own truth, your own values, how can you expect others to give you what you don't represent? That's just not how the universe works. So, for that reason, when you have your own truth filter, when you are not passive or aggressive, but you are grounded and present to what's true to you, that's how you can reverse engineer the passive aggressiveness, and you can turn it around and also see it in others when that happens. And then you can warn them. You can tell them, listen, this is not okay, that you're not telling me what is wrong in the moment, and then you're coming after me like a lion, chasing me like a predator and trying to harm me later on. Let's just not have that kind of a relationship dynamic, right? So that's what I want to tell you about passive aggressive behaviors, because again, you don't realize during your day when you are interacting with these people, passive aggressive people, they're going to end up creating such a high stress environment for your body that your body is going to produce cortisol. Cortisol is high stress, and it's going to drain the life energy out of you. And you are going to end up having a body, a physical body that is living and trying to survive under stress. And it's going to create fight, flight nervous system. And you are not going to thrive, but you're going to try to survive. And that's exactly what we don't want. And that's exactly why you need this emotional detox. Look at your relationships and then see who's draining you, who is behaving passive aggressive, or perhaps what are you doing passive aggressive to yourself and others, and stop it. It's really that energy dynamics. It's really what's happening at the core of all our relationships. I hope you hear what I am trying to tell you. Okay, let's talk about the third emotion that might be sucking the life out of you, that might require you to do an emotional detox, and how you can overcome it. That is jealousy. We can use another terminology like envy. They both come from the source of comparison. Have you ever had this person in your life, no matter what you do, no matter how amazing you are, no matter how hard you try, they always find a way to compare you with others and kind of like put you down? You know what I'm talking about, right? Right? So that person deep down is struggling with heavy emotions, low density emotions of jealousy. Because think about it. What is the mechanics? What is really going on with that person? If somebody is a true friend and an amazing person with an unconditional love for you, who wants nothing but your greatness, your amazingness, your happiness, then what's going to happen? This person is always going to be positive towards you. They're going to celebrate your successes. They are going to acknowledge your awesomeness. They are going to support you. They're going to empower you. And they're also going to inspire you with their own accomplishments, with their own emotional regulation, with their own way of living their life, right? But this person, if you have this person, that person is always going to compare what you're doing and what others are doing, where you are and then where they are, how you are dealing with something, how they are not dealing with it. And then just to your face, they will say that. And there is a reason, there's a nuance in the way that they say it. If they say it in the way that, oh my God, you know what? It's just so inspiring that you get to do all of these things. I really want to do that one day. Like, give me some tips. How do you do it? Perhaps it's the conversation. That's healthy. What is not healthy is somebody telling you, you know what? You always tell me that you are a great singer. I'll tell you what, I used to sing when I was a child too, you know? So I also am very good in singing. That is a red flag. You see? Perhaps you're saying that I am a great basketball player. And they're like, oh yeah, I used to play basketball too. And I'm pretty sure I'm good at it as well. There is always that comparison. They're trying to be at your level. They're trying to like compete with you. Like you can sense that energy, that frequency, that mechanics behind that sentence, right? So that's what I'm talking about. That jealousy is always going to be there if you really pay attention. And that one, without you realizing, it's going to suck the energy out of you. Why? Because they are around you and their low density, their vibration is going to interact with the energy around you and your energy, your aura. Your aura has etheric field. And if you look at it with science, the etheric field is oxygen getting into a reaction, a chemical reaction with other elements, keeping the invisible line, the invisible aura together intact. And that is science. That's the physics of our invisible aura, our invisible energy around us. When you look at it, you can see what's really going on. Just because you don't see your energy, your aura visibly, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Do you see Wi-Fi? No, you don't. So just because you don't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. No, it still exists. You just don't see it. Whereas the AI, it's just not in the air. It's not physical, but it still travels through the universe and then shows up on your app. It's the same thing. There is physics around everything. When you just look into it, you're going to see the science of interaction. And when you see the science of interaction, everything stops and microphones drop because there is truth in everything. Which brings me to, hold on, Ken. Which brings me to the topic that I'm talking about. There is physics of relating to somebody. There's physics about your energy management, your sovereign emotional being. Be careful who you are dealing with. Their energy leaves a mark in your aura. They interact with your energy field. They suck that energy, that oxygen out of you. And no wonder your cells at the cellular level, your oxygen drains and stress level, the cortisol goes and creates inflammation. And next thing you know, you have a belly that you keep complaining about. Guess what? In your belly, we can measure your visceral fat. If your visceral fat level is above 5 or 6, you are stressed, which means you are inflamed, which means you are dealing with some toxic energies in your field. And that is your responsibility. I need you to look at your relationships, your interactions as a very precious way of choosing what to enter into your field. I know I'm going super deep. It's intentional because we are entering into a whole new era in 2026. And I do want you to do an emotional detox and become aware of the energy vampires around you, who is sucking the energy out of you, draining and making you exhausted, making you feel burnt out. It's not really the information that is around you, because those are not giving you emotions. Those are making you live. What is happening is it's either those people who are interacting with you and then leaving their low density on you, or it's your own mental structure and your own attitude of looking at information at a low frequency level. If you're not vibrating at a high level, if you are looking at a task and if you're saying, Oh my God, how am I going to get out of this? That is victim mentality, which is the source of all this entitlement, passive aggressiveness, and jealousy that we talked about. They all drain you. They are low level frequencies. And that's why it's your responsibility to become aware and to become willing to change and reverse engineer all of that. Let go of the emotional baggage of people. Let go of the emotional baggage of your own low frequency emotions and thoughts and behaviors. This is time to wake up. This is time to really look at what is going on around us and then become intentional, become conscious, because we have the power within us. That is the message of today. I hope this episode helped you and then showed you those 3 important emotions that are the reasons of your stress, the reasons of your inflammation in your body, the reasons why you feel burnt out, why you feel exhausted. There's always a reason for it, okay? There's always a reason. I am here with a mission to educate you. So I want you to own your truth. I want you to never, ever betray yourself ever again. From starting in 2026, let's make a declaration. 2026 is going to be year of your sovereign truth. You're going to be living in alignment with your truth, and then that becomes today. Bye-bye to all the low density emotions. Bye-bye to all the relationships that are not serving you. And hello to a new world of the new you with high positive emotions, high frequency connections, and a life well lived. So that's it for today. Hope you liked it. If you did, please put a like, share it with others, and subscribe for more videos just like this. And of course, if you are ready to get to know more about yourself, take charge of your mind, your emotions, and your physical health, your body, your relationships, your career, your profession, I have a lot to share with you. We have an entire new faculty coming up, ready to change the way that you do you, ready to change the way that you look at your career, your profession, your relationships, your parenthood, your womanhood, manhood, whatever that is important for you. We are ready to hold your hand and really become the guide in this journey for you. Just go to neuroshinetechnology.com and take a look at our programs. You can always start somewhere that feels aligned with your truths. Perhaps just get to know yourself. Perhaps just become aware that you can only get better. You can only improve. And then that is going to require commitment. You are not going to be an energy vampire for yourself or for others. You're only going to be mindful of your true divine self. And that's why I'm inviting you to go to neuroshinetechnology.com and look at the options available for you and let us know how we can serve you. So thank you again for watching. And until next time, keep shining your light.
Go galactic. Go galactic. Go galactic. Then you're in the right place. Let's go, let's go.